الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجود الكريم. I'm going to talk to you about Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. So there are two ways of understanding the story. First way is to see that this boy Yusuf alayhi salam was persecuted by his brothers who threw him in a well, and some people came and found him, and instead of thinking of bringing him back to his parents, they said, this is a great chance, we're going to sell him. And they took him in a foreign country and sold him as a slave. But the mercy of Allah Ta'ala was there, and it is the minister who bought him to adopt him. So Yusuf alayhi salam grew up in a very good environment in the house of the minister, and also he did very good studies in Egypt. But then also another test came with the wife of the minister who wanted him, but he resisted and refused until he was put in prison. And another time, it looks like the story has finished. But years after, Allah Ta'ala sent a dream to the king, and Yusuf alayhi salam was the only one who could explain it. So that's how he got out of prison, and he became minister, then he became king. So it looks like because of his piousness and because of his deen, Allah gave him the success of deen and dunya, as he was king and also he was prophet. So this is one first way, one first vision to see this surah. And there's another way. Another way of understanding this surah is that in the whole of Quran, apart from Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, there's only one verse that talks about Yusuf alayhi salam. It is in Surah Ghafir, in the story of Musa alayhi salam. One long time after Yusuf alayhi salam, Musa came to Egypt to take the Banu Israel out of slavery. So Israel is Yaqub alayhi salam, the father of Yusuf, and the 12 tribes of Israel, of Banu Israel, come from the 12 children of Yaqub, that is Yusuf and his brothers. So in the end of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, he brought all his family, his brothers and their families, to Egypt. And generations later, because of their sin, they become slaves. So that's when Allah sent Musa to take them out of slavery and back to Palestine, their original land. So at that time, one person of the people of Fir'aun believed in Musa alayhi salam. He was not from Banu Israel, he was from the local people, and he started giving da'wah also to believe in Musa alayhi salam. And he said in his speech, وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ يُوسُفُ مِنْ قَبْلُ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. Yusuf has already brought the proofs before. What Musa alayhi salam is telling us, we already know this, that Allah is one and He is Prophet. It was the same thing that Yusuf alayhi salam taught us. فَمَا زِلْتُمْ فِي شَكٍ مِمَّا جَاءَكُمْ بِهِ. But you always have doubted of what he said. حَتَّى إِذَا هَلَكَ قُلْتُمْ لَنْ يَبْعَثَ اللَّهُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ رَسُولًا. And when he died, you said Allah will not send a messenger after him. So before Yusuf alayhi salam died, the whole of Egypt believed in Allah and His messenger. And now we're going to look at this story from a completely different point of view. Allah Ta'ala has sent one person alone in this great country, this great empire, great civilization of Egypt. And he was alone, and he was a child, and he was a foreigner, and he was a slave, and he also became a prisoner. And he made the effort and the da'wah until all the country became believer. So Allah Ta'ala is giving us an extreme example of lack of means and greatness of result. And it is a model for the da'i. So if you are da'i and you want your country, your city to change, and you want the world to change, to become Muslim, etc., here is an example of someone who did his duty and his mission from A to Z. And it is one surah that explains this mission. So we're going to look into this surah as a model and an example of a da'i. What did Yusuf alayhi salam do? What stages he went through? What was his actions, his qualities? So that he achieved that mission. In Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, there are two parts. First part is education. Second part is utilization by Allah Ta'ala. Education until the acceptance. And that is how the deen works. Allah is going to educate us until He accepts us, until we get the qualities, the iman, and the requirements, the conditions Allah Ta'ala wants to accept us. Once Allah Ta'ala accepts us, Allah is going to use us. So Allah is going to set up the means and the situations and use us to spread His religion. So this is why the problem of religion is not a problem of means. It's not a problem that we don't have enough money or medias or power or whatever or number. No. The problem is that we don't have enough qualities and iman and effort and sacrifice and sincerity and unity, etc. All the qualities Allah wants to help us and to use us to spread religion. So we're going to start by the second part of the surah. So what happened in Egypt that made everybody believe? What happened? There was 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of dryness. And in those 7 years, Yusuf alayhi salam was in charge, because when he explained the dream of the king, the 7 skinny cows eating 7 fat cows, and 7 dry wheat and 7 green wheat, he said, you're going to have 7 abundance, 7 years of abundance. You have to put aside half of the food so that you will eat in the 7 next years that will be very dry. After that, the rain will come and it will be the end of the crisis. So Yusuf alayhi salam told the king that if you give any one of your people to handle the situation, they're going to waste those goods, that food. They're going to bribe it. They're going to cheat with it. It's going to go, and when the dryness is going to come, your people are going to starve, and your country will be destroyed. Because the surah shows us that all the system is corrupted. No one respects the law. The king himself, the ministers, everybody. It's all corruption. So if those goods were put in the hands of anyone else, they would be wasted. So Yusuf told the king that Allah showed you the dream and gave me the interpretation, and you know that this is the truth. Well, you must give me this responsibility. So Yusuf alayhi salam asked the king the responsibility of all the economy, and the king gave him. So Yusuf alayhi salam every year was putting aside half of the production of the country. And you can imagine how everybody was getting angry and impatient about Yusuf alayhi salam, saying, why we have all this in abundance, why are we putting the country on diet? Why is this all these economy things? What's happening? Majesty, this minister you have appointed, this foreigner, he has eaten up all the goods of the country. Majesty, you have wake up. There's something going wrong. What's happening? Where did they put everything? Even the last the last worker of agriculture will complain, what's wrong? The army is coming every year to take half of my production. This is not fair. For years this is going on. So everybody was unhappy, but Yusuf alayhi salam was patient, and the king also was patient with Yusuf alayhi salam. And after those 7 years came a year of total dryness. Nothing grew up, no production, and Yusuf alayhi salam feeds all the country with what he kept aside. So they say at least he has kept something. Second year of dryness, 3, 4, 5, up to 7 years, and Yusuf alayhi salam is feeding the whole population. And now everybody is going to say, this is impossible. How did he know? How could he know that this was going to happen? So now everybody knows that Allah has showed the dream to the king, and Allah sent Yusuf alayhi salam to save us from starvation, from death, and to save us from hell. And this is how everybody believed in Allah and His Prophet. There is a second reason for which the whole country believed in Yusuf alayhi salam. It is his akhlaq, his behavior. So how was Yusuf alayhi salam sharing the food? Yusuf alayhi salam was giving each person the same amount for no money. For no money. When his brothers came, because when the abundance came in Egypt, it was also in Palestine. But when the dryness came to Egypt, it also came to Palestine. But in Palestine, the people did not prepare anything for the difficult days, as they did not think there's going to be a problem. So from the first year, they had no food, and they heard that in Egypt, that the king had made, put aside food, so they came and they brought their goods to buy the food. And Yusuf alayhi salam was handling the situation himself. This is a time where food is more precious than gold, and you cannot give this to anyone. So he was receiving and giving people himself, and he did not give this to anyone else. So when his brothers came, they said, "Here we have come from Palestine, and we have dryness in our country, and we heard that you have food here, so we have come to buy the food, and this is the goods that we have brought." So Yusuf alayhi salam told them, "Don't tell me what you have brought, tell me how many you are." Because he's giving, it is not giving according to the money you can afford. He gives you according to the food you need to survive. So they say, "Well, we are here, and there's our father that's old, that stayed in the village, and our brother who stayed with our father." So Yusuf alayhi salam says, "Okay, your father is old, we're not going to make him come, but your brother must come, and I must see him. And next time if you come without your brother, I'm not going to give you anything to any of you." And they're going to say, "Which next time? We came this year because of dryness. Is this, what next time again? Is there going to be dryness next year? What's he talking about?" But Yusuf alayhi salam knows that the dryness is going to last for 7 years, and there's nowhere they can find food except by him. So they will have to come back. There's no alternative. Because Yusuf alayhi salam is giving each person what he needs to survive. So no one can sell the food. There's no black market. There's no one who can cheat on anyone. So a fantastic thing that Yusuf alayhi salam not only eradicated the kufr and shirk from Egypt, but also he eradicated corruption and bribery. If you think of a country like many countries that is where there's so much corruption from top to bottom of society, and if someone says, "I'm going to remove this corruption from this country," you think, this guy does not know what he's talking about. He thinks that by making a law or by making some advertisement, what's that going to change? But with Yusuf alayhi salam, also Allah removed all the corruption from the country. So the people would come. If you come with plenty of money and you say, "I want food for my money," or you come crying that "I've got plenty of kids and you have nothing to eat," you will get the same thing. You'll get the same thing. And you will not pay anything. So Yusuf was telling them, "This is not my food. This is not from my father. This is your work that you have worked and planted and collected, and we have taken this, we put it aside, and it is yours. And today we are giving it back to you. I am only here to serve you. I'm not selling whose food. This is your food." He's giving it back to the population. And this is something incredible. Do we know anywhere in the world that the rulers are here to serve the people? What everybody knows is they are here to serve themselves, isn't it? I remember in one country, the president was giving wishes for New Year on 31st of December, and he said, "I wish you Happy New Year, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Oh, I think of the poor people who don't have shelter and don't have good food, and we also must think about them. And I said, what a liar. If you think about those people, invite them for dinner with you, tell everybody that they can come have food with you. If you think about them, what is this lie? This is just politics. So that everybody having feast and nice time and very beautiful food. So that yes, our president is such a good man. Hi, we're all having feast and he's worrying about those people who got nothing. Invite them to have dinner with you if you really are worried about them. Ajib wa gharib. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, when it was dryness and his tummy was going qurr qurr, and he says qarqiri aw la tuqarqiri. You make qurr, you don't make qurr. You will not eat until the children of Muslims have eaten. So the akhlaq of Yusuf alayhi salam, never people have seen such akhlaq. Just imagine if someone has one good that everybody needs and he's the only person to have it. If someone has the bread or the sugar or the milk or whatever, rice that people need, or salt, how is he going to sell it? He's going to multiply the prices. Just look in Ramadan how the prices go up. So what about someone who has all the food of the country? No one can eat except from his hand. How is he going to do? He's going to take everybody like his own slaves. So this akhlaq of Yusuf alayhi salam made everybody to love him. Everybody to love him. So this is what happened in Egypt that made everybody to believe. Now we come back to the first part of the surah, which is the education. So the education is divided into two parts. There's the efforts and the tests, ibtila and imtihan, test from Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. And that is how the educational religion goes. You make the effort to pray, to learn Quran, to give da'wah, to avoid sins, to behave properly. Everything that Islam asks us to do, you make the effort, and Allah is going to test you. And those tests, those difficult situations, will make you progress even more than your own effort. For example, you can have sabr, you can patient, pray in the night. But if you have a problem and you're sleeping outside in the rain, so then you're not going to sleep all night. And that will teach you that, under the rain, I spend the night outside. Why cannot pray 1 hour or two every night for Allah tabarak wa ta'ala? So in the test, you're going to learn more qualities and more patience and more iman and more dua than what you do normally on your own. So that goes together. It's like if you go to school, you learn and you pass exams. And you learn and you pass exams. If you don't pass exams, you cannot go forward. And if you don't learn, it's no use passing exams. So the education has two parts, the efforts and the ibtila, the test. And the tests are also of two kinds. There are the good test and the bad test. And the story starts with a good test. Yusuf alayhi salam sees in dream sun, moon, and 11 planets making sujood to him. And he tells his father, and his father does not understand what it is and cannot tell him what it might be. But his father tells him, this means Allah is going to give you the knowledge of dreams. And the knowledge of dreams is part of the prophecy. And Allah is going to give you the prophecy. As He has given to me, your father Yaqub, and to my father Ishaq, and to my grandfather Ibrahim, Allah is going to continue this gift and mercy and blessing with you. So, what Yaqub understood and told his son is that you're going to be a prophet. Look at this good news. Yusuf alayhi salam was a young boy, loving his father, loving deen, making effort of deen, and now Allah shows him he's going to be a prophet. So how much that's going to increase his iman and boom his iman. If he loved Allah, he's going to love Allah more. If he loved deen, he's going to love deen more. If he did not care about dunya, he's going to care even less. Because now, as he's going to be prophet, can he worry about what he's going to do? How is he going to get married? Where is he going to live? No worry at all. Allah is my boss. He's taking everything in charge. I just have to worry to please Allah. So, Allah can give you a good test, a good situation that will double your iman, just as a present from Allah Ta'ala. But that present, Allah does not give it for nothing. It is for the effort. Because you are doing effort, you are doing every effort you can and asking Allah and constantly looking for iman and asking for hidayah and doing your best, you see, so that Allah Ta'ala gives you that. But if you are wasting your time watching TV, you don't even think that you need to ask Allah something, just living like that. But you only have worry about dunya, about having fun, playing, enjoying yourself. So how can Allah give you more iman when the iman you have, you did not thank Allah for it and you're not working for it to increase? So that is the first ibtila. And then comes the bad ibtila. The bad ibtila. They put Yusuf alayhi salam in the well. And what is the meaning of this ibtila, this test? Is that the man likes stability in his life and security. You like to have your house, your income, your everything you need, and your security in case you get ill, in case you get retired, in case what. You got all the securities and stability in your life. And Allah Ta'ala does not like the need of man in financial and material security and stability. Allah wants us to believe in Him and not to believe in money and in material. So Allah Ta'ala took off Yusuf alayhi salam everything he had, his house, his parents, his family, the sheep, even his identity. Look at that ID card you have or that passport, how much important it is for you. Look at other people living without residence, without citizenship, etc. How difficult their life is. You can't imagine how much this ID card weighs in our hearts. So Allah took everything off Yusuf alayhi salam, and he became a good to sell, lost even his identity. And in that situation in the well, Allah Ta'ala told him, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. We revealed to him that you will tell them what they have done without them knowing it is you who is telling them. So Allah Ta'ala told Yusuf alayhi salam, don't worry, what is happening, Allah sees it. What's going to happen next, Allah knows. And what's happening after, Allah knows. And how all this is going to end, Allah knows. And you will win in the end. So Allah Ta'ala tells him, don't worry, you've lost everything, but Allah is with you, you have lost nothing. You have lost nothing, and you have nothing to worry about. And that is the meaning of this ibtila. How to take out of his heart anything of dunya he was attached to, that was important to him, and just to believe in Allah Ta'ala. And what happened? Allah changed all this situation into positive. They took him to Egypt and they got rid of him. وَشَرَوْهُ بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ دَرَاهِمَ مَعْدُودَةٍ. They sold him for a small price, just a few dirham, as you say, a few dollars. They broke the price because he's stolen. As we know, anyone who steals something, can sell it for half price, no problem, because it's just benefit for him. And also he's afraid that someone will come and inquire or claim something, so he has to get rid of it quickly. And who bought him? Rasatan Sahibu Yusuf, the person who's got the most, how do you call that? The sight of the heart, the most wise eyesight, is the person who took Yusuf alayhi salam, his adoptive father, because just by seeing him in the market of slaves, he understood that this child is an exceptional child. And he took him to be his son. And Allah tells us when he took him into the house and he called his wife, come see, look what I have bought. وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِنْ مِصْرَ لِامْرَأَتِهِ. He told his wife, أَكْرِمِي مَثْوَى, take good care of him. عَسَىٰ أَنْ يَنْفَعَنَا أَوْ نَتَّخِذَهُ وَلَدًا. I hope he will be useful to us, or even I'll take him as a son. He told her, this is not a slave to clean the house or to work in the garden. No, we're going to treat him well, educate him well, everything, and I hope he's going to be useful, and if he is what I think, I'll take him as my son. And of course, Yusuf alayhi salam, day after day, will not deceive his master, and he will see that truly this boy deserves to be my son. I could not even have had such a son myself. So he is going to educate him as his son. So Allah changed Yusuf alayhi salam, of course, a house better than his house, food and quality of life much better. Of course, his parents cannot be changed by better parents, but the adoptive parents have so much love to give. And there were 12 boys, now he is alone, and he's got all his parents for himself, and all that wealth and attention for himself. But the most thing that Yusuf alayhi salam won in Egypt compared to Palestine is to learn about dunya. Learn about dunya. Because Egypt was a great civilization. Up till this day, we don't know how they built those pyramids. So that involves mathematics and physics and architecture and plenty of things. Up till this day, we don't know how they did the mummies. And that needs pharmacy and biology and medicine. And up till this day, we don't understand their writing. Subhanallah. You see all those films with FBI, CIA, and codes and secret things. Well, this is the writing of Egyptians. They can't figure it out. So all that did not just come from one man's mind. All that was built generation after generation. At each generation, the most intelligent youth go learn these things and become expert and improve them. This is how civilization goes forward. As the way we see today is a civilization of technology. And that is what every generation tries to improve. So Yusuf alayhi salam learned everything because that's how he was educated. So this ibtila was a bad ibtila that Allah took his brothers, put him in the well. Now I told you that this surah, be careful, that there's two parts, the education until the acceptance by Allah Ta'ala, and then utilization by Allah. And the education is divided into the efforts and the tests. And the tests are divided into the good ones and the bad ones. And the bad tests are divided in two. There's the bad test when you have made a mistake, and the bad test when you have done no mistake. So in the story of the well, Yusuf alayhi salam did not do any mistake. The test just fell on him like that. In that situation, the rule, if you have done no mistake and Allah tests you by something bad, the rule is that Allah is going to change all the bad thing in it into good. So that means that as long as you don't do any mistake with Allah, no one can harm you. Anyone who tries to harm you, Allah will change all that negative into positive. So all you need to do is to be straight with Allah Ta'ala, and Allah guarantees your security. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Those who believe and did not spoil their belief with dhulm, with injustice, those have security. and they are well guided. And then after that, Yusuf alayhi salam did a mistake, and he had a bad test for his mistake. And in that situation, the rule is very much different. If you do a mistake, and Allah will test you because of that mistake you have done, so the rule is that the education of Allah is hard, very hard. Allah will give you a lesson for life, so that all your life you'll never forget that mistake you have done and what was the outcome of that. So that you never do it again. Just look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he forgot to say Insha'Allah. When the people came asked him the question, the Jews came to ask him the questions to test if he's really prophet, and he said, I will answer you tomorrow, and he forgot to say Insha'Allah. And Allah Ta'ala kept the revelation for 1 month until the kuffar were so happy that at last we have finished with him. We have proved that he's a liar. He said tomorrow, it has been 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's finished. Now we know that it's all his invention. And Rasulullah suffered so much in this month that Allah Ta'ala told him, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. Are you going to kill yourself because of them? So much you are worried that they won't believe. Rasulullah was suffering so much to see the people denying him and not believing and going to hell for this 1 month. And then Allah Ta'ala gave all the answers and told him, next time, don't forget to say Inshallah. You see the education of Allah? Allah could have given him this revelation next day and say, oh, by the way, yesterday you forgot to say Inshallah, make sure next time you don't forget. No, that's not how Allah Ta'ala deals with that situation. Allah kept the wahi for 1 month. And it was such a hard time for Rasulullah. Because of what? Because of forgetting Inshallah. You see, that is the education of Allah. So what happened with Yusuf alayhi salam? He was put into prison. Why? Because the lady wanted him. Absolutely. And she said it in front of all the ladies, and now the situation has become bad. And the minister sat with his close friends or advisors and said, what can we do now? They said, Minister, is there any mashara for this matter? Your wife is telling everybody that she absolutely wants to sleep with your slave. This is not something you can think twice. You have to divorce this wife. How is this possible? We cannot make sure for such a situation. Every man knows what he should do. But the minister had a problem. In fact, after he died, and in the end Yusuf alayhi salam married his wife, he found her virgin. So he was totally impotent. And that's why he didn't have children. Maybe that's why he died. But this was a secret that he could not share easily with people. And this is why also he could not blame his wife, because he could not give her satisfaction as any man and woman needs and hopes for marriage. So this is why he could not blame on her, and he can't divorce her because he can't take another wife. So he said, no, leave my wife. Give me another solution. Another solution. If you have to leave your wife. So we must get rid of Yusuf alayhi salam. And that's what was done. The one who was faithful to his master, was honest, was straight, was pure, he was sacrificed to keep Mr. and Mrs. at ease in their comfort and not to disturb their life. So he was put in prison without any trial and without even writing his name, that this guy in this prison should stay here so much time. No, they just put him there. Huh? And when Yusuf alayhi salam went into the prison, two young men went in the same time, and they were working for the king, and the king had been poisoned. So they didn't know who put the poison. They took the cook and the one who was serving wine and put them in the prison until they clear out the matter. So they had dreams, and Yusuf alayhi salam explained the dreams, and they discovered that the cook put the poison. So he told the cook, "You're going to die, you're going to be executed," and the other one is going to be declared innocent and put back into his duty. So he told him, "Please mention my case to the king." This is the mistake of Yusuf alayhi salam. Why is it a mistake? For many reasons. First reason, Allah does not want to see in our hearts that we believe that someone holds our destiny besides Him. Allah does not want to see in our hearts that we rely and we believe that this person can make my life go good or make my life go bad. قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ. Say, Allah, the King of the Kingdom, you give the kingdom to who you want, you remove it from who you want. وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. You make powerful who you want, and you put down who you want. بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ. The good is in your hand, and your good is not in the hand of anyone else. Allah does not want us to believe that my good is in the hand of this person, and that person can decide that's what my life would be. Allah does not want to see that in our hearts. Allah wants us to know that our life and death and wealth and poverty and everything is in His hand. Second reason is that Yusuf alayhi salam was preaching these two men, and then he asked them for some personal help. And there is a contradiction in the fact to come explain religion, give da'wah to people, and then you say, actually I have a problem, could someone please help me for this situation? So there is a contradiction in giving da'wah and then using the respect that people give you for deen for your personal worldly matters. And this is why all the prophets were saying, we don't ask you any reward for this. It is only Allah that is going to pay us. And the third reason is that Yusuf alayhi salam used an illegal process, an illegal procedure to settle his problem. And it's not the legal procedure that he used. Well, you must understand that what Yusuf has done is not haram. Is not haram. That means asking someone, yes, let's have a pause.